Okay, so now we can look into how we can CRUD the data. So CRUD is an acronym, stands for create, read, update, and delete. So, but before that, let me just stop the seeding process. So in the environment file, I will add a new environment variable, call it seed, which will be equal to true. And inside the app service, I need to import the .env and call the config. Like this, and inside the constructor, so if process .env dot, I forgot what I named the variable, dot seed, all capitalized, 3 equals, or just check it if it exists, seed. And what I will do, I'll remove the value from here. I think I run the server in dev mode, so it will recompile each time. I will stop it. And now, come on. Okay. So now it won't see the data. So to start working our controllers, if you go to Nest.js documentation and go inside recipes, the CRUD utilities. So yeah. So usually, if you ever worked with Express or some other frameworks for Node.js, you will eventually, if you are not that experienced in programming, you will eventually repeat yourself a lot. So most of the routes just look the same, and most of the routes you can filter them by you can filter the data that they represent in the same way. So the idea behind this is just to save some time, and because almost all routes you will create will look the same. So this is, as far as I understood, just to save time, and it's really powerful. So you don't have to implement a lot of things, a lot of joins, filters. Some of them are complex by yourself. So this is implemented for you if you want to use it. To start using it, you need to install the package. These are multiple packages. We will work with all of them, but it only works for type ORM at the moment, which we are using. And there is a library for the front end, for your front end application, which you can use to build the query, because you write it in a specific way. To be honest, this is the first time I see a framework that does it in this way. Most of them has this thing already built in, but I think Nest.js is a little bit more complex, since it allows you to join tables together in the query parameters, which I think is very useful. In other frameworks, you need to do this manually. You need to pass a specific parameter and then delete it, and then it's just a headache. I think they did a very good job on this. I really liked it. So okay, after you install these, I already did. What the documentation says, you need to create an entity. We already did that. And you need to create a service for that entity, and you need to inject the repository for this entity, and you need to extend another service that they created, a generic service. So let's go and do that. I'll copy this. I will close all my tabs. So I will work first thing I will work on the post entity. I will go to the post service, and I will just put the import here, and I'll extend this service, and it's a generic service which takes an entity as a type. And here inside the constructor you need to pass super with this repo. Sorry. So yeah, like this. And I don't think we will use it inside this class, so I will remove these two. So I will just need it inside the constructor. If we want to do it, I will just retain them. So yeah, so this is our service. And our controller will be, I think, the same. It will just stay the same as just in the class. But I think we need to add the decorator here. So okay, yeah. So if you go to this section, you will see here they imported the CRUD decorator. So I import it, and they put it here before the controller decorator. And here you need to pass the entities that this controller represents. It will be the post entity. So the CRUD takes an object which has a property called model. It's also an object. The type of the model is post entity. Yeah, so this is actually very, very powerful, and there's a lot of options. I will put the link in the description on what you can do, but I will try to explore them as much as I can do. I will show you some cool features that they provide. But before we can use it, we need to link everything together inside the module, which we already did. So if you go down, so this is all the routes that these steps allows us to do. So by extending that service and putting the CRUD decorator on top of our controller, all these routes are now implemented for this controller, which represents an endpoint for post entity. So as I said, you usually do these kind of routes for each entity in your database, for each table, but so they just provided a generic service that does this that does these routes dynamically for you, which I think is very powerful. But sometimes we don't always need all of these routes for all of our entities, so you can disable them. I will show you how you can disable some. For example, I won't allow deletion for the post, so I will show you how we can disable that, and how we can guard a specific endpoint. So not any user can just send an AJAX request to update a specific post. Only the authorized user, so which means the user that created this post. We will come to these things, but what this allows us to do, if I go to after we do all of that, so now we have these endpoints implemented for our controller, which is prefixed with post. So if I go to Postwoman, so before going to Postwoman, we need to expose our API using ngrok. So I think it's in port 3030 in my machine, but I can't. Yeah, I think 3030. I put it inside the env file. Yeah, okay. So let's go to our terminal. Go to the place you installed ngrok, and if you are on Ubuntu, just type. Okay, first just go to the place, then type // the name ngrok $http 3030. Oh yeah, it's not a flag, it's an argument. So like this. So this is our link now. I will copy it, go to Postwoman, put it here, and here the prefixed route is post. I think it's better to make it plural, but anyway. So like this. So if you send a request now, I think we should get all of the posts, but something is wrong. So I'm not sure what it is. Cannot read property get many of undefined. Yes, okay. So we need first to allow this controller to use a specific service to access the database. So we need to inject this service. The service, actually, if you think about it, I think I made like a dump move here. I didn't notice. So yeah, we have the service, but we are not using it anywhere. So obviously we need to use it at least in some place. So I'll just inject it here. And there is something I'm not sure if well I think I just I'll just show you. Let me just finish typing. So the service will be the post. God, I can't type. Post service. Okay. So I think you need to name it service. Because if you think about it, so what these decorators do, they take this class as an argument and they modify it. So this one will modify it first, then this CRUD will modify it. And I think what CRUD do, it looks for a property inside your class called service, which will represent the service that injects the repository to access your database. So you need to call it service. I think if this is not the case, I think they should like make you define it in a specific way, maybe call a function or extended class, or like, yeah, I think they just I think this is the best way to do it. If you want to use the CRUD decorator, just give us a service called service. So yeah, I think it's good. So the server is running, and now if I go to Postwoman and hit send, I should see all the posts we have. I will show you how we can do pagination, but I think it works because it's a little bit slow. So yeah, we have here all of the posts, which is good. Yeah. So how we can do pagination? I think it's in Postwoman. Sorry, no. In Nest.js, you can. Let me go to the documentation. Here they provide they provide an example on how we can filter the data. So as you can see, here they are only selecting the name from the heroes endpoint, from the heroes entity, which means so they are only selecting the name and they are filtering. So each and represents a separator. So this is the first parameter we are sending to the API. So select only the name, filter where power greater than 90. So this is I like this. I really like this, and sort it by name, ascending order, and the page is 1, the limit is 3. And I think if you go to the bottom, you will see a link for the, I think this link here, and this just put, I think you can add here a parameter, but I'm not sure why. Well, not why, where. Yeah, here, parameters. So the first one I will call it, I will need to click add a new. So the first one would be page, and the value is 1, and the limit is 10. So I will send it now. You see the response will be not just only an array, it will be an object, which when in a property, and in it there is a property called data, which contains 10 elements. And if you scroll to the bottom, you will find the count of each page, and the total, and the page count on the page. So this is good if you want to do pagination. And you can also do some filters. So for example, let me just show you what we can do. So if I add a new parameter, I will say where created at will be equal to no, sorry. So it will be where I will filter it by created at I will to yeah, I think let me just check the documentation. Yeah, here they show a way you can do how you can do joins. I'm not quite sure, but I think Nest.js is the only framework that allows you to do this. In other frameworks, you need to do this by yourself, which is sometimes could be very annoying. So yeah, here's how they do the filter. So here you define the column name, then the operation, then the value. I think if you go here inside, if you scroll to the bottom in the Nest.js documentation, you will find this GitHub page, which in it you can find this link handling request, which shows you, tells you which defines the rules that you can use in the query parameters. So here we have the filter, and here they provide some examples. And for the condition or the operator, you can say these are all of them, which are very powerful. We will work on some of them in maybe next videos, but for now, just finish this one by typing where created at the condition. I will put greater. So $GTE. I think a lot of I'm not sure, but I think this comes up from Mongo. So they did it this way so they can easily integrate it with Mongo. I'm not sure, but I think this is the syntax you do in MongoDB. Anyway, I'm not sure. So yeah, you put here so greater than, put 2020. Happy New Year, by the way. And so 0101. So give me the posts that are created after the 1st of January. I think we have, yeah, most of them are in the 4th, so today. So the total is 400. So let's just put it, okay, so greater than the 4th of January. I think, yeah, this is something I always notice. When you filter a date time with date, so this is actually this will be converted, I think, in the database layer to something like this. So the time will be all zeros. And if you think about it, this date time actually means it's the 12 a.m. in the previous day. So if you will pass a date, I think it's a good idea to make it in the next day. So this means actually the 4th of January. So we don't have posts created after the 4th of January. Or you can simply just, because this is really confusing, I think, but you can test it if you want. Or you just pass a time which defines anything, or at least 00 and then 101. Yeah, anyway, but I think you got the idea. So I think building these kind of links, look how the parameters looks like, will be quite, I think it's not that hard. You can just define an object, the user, at the end you should pass to a function that loops over it and just join it with ands. I think it's really easy, but they provide this kind of thing for you. If you go scroll to the top, I will put the link in the description for this one as well. They have like, yes, here in the request, the front end usage, which is I think it's a better approach. If you want to use Nest.js, I think use this in your front end, especially if you if you are using even if you are building like a native mobile application, use this. Okay, so I think in the next videos I will just continue on these CRUD utilities for other entities, and I will show you the other requests since we are only looked on this one, and I will show you the different parameters we can pass here. So hopefully we can get a better idea on how we can implement these kind of things and customize them, because we at the end we need to add guards and disable some of the routes. So okay, thank you.